And it starts right now with race 1, the IRT Koala King free-for-all, as we look at J Bond's sneaky preview there of how he does his form. It's at 5:20 p.m. at the home of harness racing in Victoria, Jace, Melton, 5:20. The opener. You said
have a media career.
Thank you very much. You said you didn't really like the first when we spoke earlier, which I've got to say hugely surprised me.
Oh, hang on. Tab didn't have a market. They had markets for everywhere, but no. Do they have a market for it now?
Yeah, they do. It's open now.
I could like it.
Do you want to just start with you guessing odds and me reading them out?
No, are there prices available?
What odds would you think Ladies in Red is for the place?
Oh, I'm not worried about Ladies in Red for the place.
I was just think it's funny. It is an odds. What odds would you say?
$1.04.
It's $1. I didn't even know it got down that far. I always thought $1.04 was it, but yeah, it's $1.
What's Triple Eight place?
1.6.
What's MacDan?
MacDan.
Drinking like it's not in the race.
$1.28.
Yeah.
Gee, MacDan's interesting. It's wonder if this has got something to do with the map. 550 into 460.
Do you want a stat?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Right. To try and clarify the issue even further, I've given you when Emma Stewart and Clayton Tonkin dominate the pace of the profiles. There's a couple of Dorothy. There's a couple of just fill-in ones, but this is a pretty good one. MacDan, win leading.
Look at that.
Read it out.
17 starts for MacDan for 14 wins and 3 placings. So 100% strike rate placing and winning and 82.35% win rate. That's amazing.
Phenomenal. And
look at the record not leading. 57 starts for 12 wins and 11 placings. So the win record tumbles from 82.35 to 21.05 and the place from 100 to 40.35.
So not bad. Not bad at all when not leading, but
yeah,
how good when leading. And if you go back through the lifetime, the biography of MacDan, there would be almost no faster horse off the gate in Van Diemen's Land.
Ooh. So yeah, already, and this is what we were saying. Already I'm rethinking. When I looked at this race, I thought there was a chance it could lead. But I walked away from that the more I looked at it for some reason.
It'll cross in a heartbeat. But the question is then, he just does not appear visually, was one of the 5 senses that I use, eyes. He doesn't appear to be going that great. But at 1,720 metres, that record in front, does he post Ladies in Red or does he just say, I tell you what, well, mates, I've seen you at the stable. You're a lovely girl. How about you take over and I'll just trail you and sit back and...
Well, I think it has to trail. We're talking about Ladies in Red.
Yeah, but Ladies in Red, I mean...
Career record, 27 wins, bit of a stat. 27 wins from 35 with 7 seconds.
There should be poems. There should be movies, documentaries made about Ladies in Red. But one of the most amazing things about Ladies in Red, of all the amazing things,
yes,
is her record in the breeze. She has breezed 7 of her last 20 starts for 6 wins. She almost goes better when she parks outside of them and drills them into submission. And here,
yeah, it's a fair point.
Pure speed. She'll win the race anyway, probably. What is she a win, by the way?
Sorry?
She's $1 the place. What is she the win?
For the win, she is $1.35 in from $1.40.
She's a champion. And we don't use that term lightly. She's a champion.
I go back to the Blossom Lady. I wanted to see Rakiro Rebel's gate speed when they've used it, and it was driven out aggressively that night and gets across Joyful, who was drawn right alongside, so was able to spear across there.
She's quick, but she's not back down quick.
Well, she might but how often do you see though that you don't necessarily have to be equal if you're drawn right alongside, especially if your stablemate's drawn barrier 1 and would prefer to be sitting behind Ladies in Red. Not that I'm saying those things are linked, but there's a world, isn't there, where you kick up and you just try and
You don't try and cross the one. You just try and provide
well,
cover.
you might. Well, ladies in red's probably going to be holding a fairly forward spot as well. So ladies in red comes out, drawn alongside Rakiro Rebel. Rakiro Rebel knows ladies in red's on the left, knows that an out of form potentially MacDan's on the right. So James Herbertson gets really busy. Triple H trying to get out as quick as it can to try and hold the back of whoever's going to get ahead of it, which if I'm the driver, I'm Amy Tubbs, I'm preferring David Moran to eventually just work around me and that to be the map.
It's a lovely story, but I do, I think Rakiro Rebel, because Triple H's there, I look at it a different way, and you just say, I'm probably better. This is Rakiro Rebel. If I don't do anything early, I don't want to get across Triple H. It's the better chance of the stable. So I'm just going, and Ladies in Red's got quite solid gate speed anyway. So why use myself up when there's no guarantees I'm going to get anywhere special? So I'm just going to float out, and MacDan's going to get across, and we're going to hope that MacDan holds the front and Triple H behind the leader.
But what does that? But what does that do for the chances of Rakiro Rebel? If you're thinking like that, you're the Rakiro Rebel driver.
I don't think they're thinking Rakiro Rebel.
Who's they? James Herbertson is.
Well, Jess Tubbs is.
Well, I think
Lara J. Farm would be looking at it as
out
of the two. Well, I'll ask you, out of the two, which is the better hope?
The better hope to run a place is Triple Eight. Having said that, if Rakiro Rebel can get across Ladies in Red, could that happen?
Yes.
Well, what happens if it does then?
What does it do for you?
Well, we don't know. I guess if you can get across Ladies in Red, then you're probably getting across Triple Eight. I don't think it'll happen, but
why would you want to get? Geez, we're digging deep here. This is really profound.
Because
why would you want to get across Triple Eight?
Because MacDan's right there and he's going to come out absolutely humming.
But you're positioning Triple Eight the better hope. Yeah. One equine, one standard bred, or 4 meters back further than you want it to be.
Triple Eight, in my opinion, won't be beating Ladies in Red if Ladies in Red was to run to the front easy enough, but I think it can absolutely run second.
What about the scenario where MacDan holds the front and Triple Eight's behind the leader and Ladies in Red's in the breeze? This is magnificent. I love it.
That's a good. That's a very good point.
Do they have different owners, MacDan and Ladies in Red?
It is funny, actually, isn't it? You've got two stables. You've got 2 stables with 4 horses, and this entire discussion is around this.
Yeah.
And then Scotty Ewan pulls the stick on Bulletproof Boy and tries to get across the ball. Won't happen.
I think the key here is, even though 5, 6, and 7.
Yep.
So what? Serge Blanco, Bulletproof Boy, all have excellent gate speed. None of them will use it, surely.
Well, you wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't think so. Serge Blanco's a scratching, by the way. That's only just come through recently.
Well, that's actually good news for you, because you didn't make it the black book. But what does a Lost Storm do? I suspect 1,720 meters, gate 8, little break between races. Do you just stick to the pegs and go around for the run, knowing that you've got Ladies in Red among your adversaries off the front line and MacDan?
Well, I mean, you have to.
It's such a good horse, but
I think it has to follow the peg line, and I think if it does, it'll end up with a really nice trail, almost regardless. 3
or 4 poles would.
Yeah. So you're saying, if I say percentage-wise, right? What is the percentage of MacDan finding the rails first?
98.75.
Oh, okay. 98.75. So that's
the only way it wouldn't. The only way it wouldn't is just to Pagans paddock it for LIR.
Yep.
Right. But it can do the same. Like, if you go back through some of this horse's runs, it will cross them that quickly. If you blink with those beautiful eyelashes you've got, they're long, so that they're going to take a while to come back up again. Have you been complimented on your eyelashes before?
No, I
There you
haven't.
go.
But there you go. There's a first for everything.
So then it can hold the front,
Yep.
or it can hand up to ladies in red. 98.75 conservatively.
Okay. Yep.
And then the chances that we'll hand up to ladies in red is the more intriguing question for mine.
Mm.
I would say near 50-50.
Yep.
Maybe 40, 60% in the favour that it will hand up to ladies in red.
I think if it finds the top, I think it's
It does.
handing up.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Even with that amazing stat that I got.
Yeah, because it's ladies in red. How many of those times was ladies in red in the race?
The thing is, the best of MacDan.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. So before we get into race 2, because we spent some time here.
The market is favouring your scenario, I would say.
What is you'll get across. What were your thoughts before I have?
You sounded like the sun and the moon that time when you said you'd give up punting if you got it wrong, but keep saying he'll do it. But that's all good. It happens.
No. Well, I think I'm more confident about my maps than actually tipping the winner sometimes. But even last week,
yep.
And there's a number of these this week where there's only 2 scenarios, and it was the second scenario that happened way more often than the first.
Yep.
So just quickly, before I started flapping my gums,
yeah,
my gingies, what were you thinking about the race? What were you going to do?
Well,
because you were confident beforehand.
Well, I was, and I thought, look, ladies in red obviously just wins this. Then it just comes down to map. Now, under your scenario, if I'm thinking on the fly, which I didn't have MacDan finding the front, I actually thought if Rakiro Rebel comes out, ladies in red comes out, the pole marker, they're not as quick as MacDan. You know, I've made the note, but I also am not convinced that MacDan's going super well. But you're right, you've made a very good point. The great gate speed could just have him finding the rails very, very quickly. Now, if that happens, I still think ladies in red's a certainty, obviously. But yeah, my trifectas in the race were going to be ladies in red wins, 1 and 8 are your next horses to throw in. Under this scenario, you only have to make one adjustment. I just have to put the 4 in.
1, 4, and
8. Yes. Yeah, 1, 4, and 8 for second and third. Some of the aggressive value or the value you can get out of aggression sometimes disappears. But having said all that, the 4 could land that exact spot and it still might be 4, 1, and 8 in the trifecta. Yeah. That's happened before a few times where, you know, I've gone and mapped it one way, it hasn't worked out, but the actual end result's been exactly the same. And this could be one of those times. Because I think Triple Eight and the Lost Storm, do you reckon they could run past MacDan up the straight?
I think under my scenario, so if we've got ladies in red in front,
yep,
I don't think the Lost Storm will place.
Right.
Because 3 poles is one thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
4 poles is hard. Although, even though he's won a lot of his races tough, he's a very quick horse. But if ladies in red is in the breeze, slightly different story. But the key here is if ladies in red is in the breeze, the stable mates in front, they are not going to go fast, are they?
No, exactly.
Ladies
and under
in red is just going to beat him with speed.
100%. And under that scenario,
dominated race.
And under that scenario, I think the drivers, Alan McDonough and David Moran, would all be quite comfortable with their own chances of Alan saying, well, I'll just lead now, and that's fine. That's best for me. And Moran says, well, it's best for all of us if I sit in the breeze because my biggest danger is now 1 extra horse back and so on and so forth.
My two final comments on this race. 1, the bet that I would have, I believe, right now would be Triple Eight a place. Because I think from behind the leader, all 3 poles, $1.60 is just good enough.
I can't see it missing a place. I'm with you on that. I just cannot see it missing a place. Yeah.
And it is a snap speed horse pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty much a snap speed horse. And the other one is the 1.25% that I've left. So what does that like you say? Don't bet the house. Make sure you keep
the bathroom.
Keep the bathroom. Is I don't know the intent. I can't be sure of the intent.
Yeah.
With MacDan. But that's what I believe will happen. So your bet
And
is
and that is a great point, isn't it? You can have all the gate speed in the world. If you don't use it, you can't lead.
I
But
can't see why they wouldn't here, but at the same time, that's why I'm saying 98.75 rather
well,
than
I'll say this just about the market too, and I know that there's not a lot of volume in the markets early, but it's funny that MacDan opened $6. It came into, oh, well, I suppose maybe it's just because of the Serge Blanco scratching, is it? Came into $6 into 550 and then into 460. No, the others haven't all shortened twice, so it's shortened up 2 times, which is interesting for a horse that's not in much form.
for the. I think
Well, there's
the
your
reasons
intent.
outlined.
Yes. All right, race 1 will be very interesting, and the full game plans, as always, will be available on pacesetters.au. Mine might be changing somewhat as to what I first compared to what I first thought.
If you've read the 4 in, I think you're still in pretty good shape, aren't you?
I think so, yeah. But outside of those 4 horses, is there anything else that can even place under those 2 scenarios we've just mentioned?
Well, the thing is, you see crazy stuff, don't you? I mean,
but we've already said Triple Eight has to run second or third, and Ladies in Red should be winning.
I know, yeah.
So there's only one spot left.
I'm confident you're right, but at the same time, there's a number of horses here that are flying.
Yeah, Bark's going really well.
Serge Blanco put the writing on the wall.
Scratch.
Bulletproof Boy, I said it last week. I'm confident he's not best served in front, particularly not over a middle trip. This is drawn 7. I think you got to go back. But yes, I think you race 2. What do you reckon?
Loving race. I wonder if race 2 will get as much discussion. It's the tab We're on Pace, and it's the first time we've had this race where they're not on a horse. It's just the tab We're on Pace, Chase. 1720 meters, 70 to 89, and there is a pretty important scratching here in number 9, Perfect Stride.
Yeah, relatively important. So the interesting one here, don't you remember the horse Pace?
Adrian Pace, Joey Pace. I don't remember the horse Pace.
If you darts with Joey, race. So Tickie's watching. I'll give you the stat first of all.
Right, let's have a look at the stat.
Then we've got to build the narrative. There's 2 stats here. Tickie's watching. Much better record. I mean, limited exposure, but record in front is
8 starts, 6 wins and a placing. Yep, 75% win record.
Does Tickie's watching have the most gate speed off the front line? No. Can it hold? I'll ask you a few questions. Can it hold the Beach Fantasy early?
Yes.
Prime Rider won't come out. It only ever comes out from gate 1.
Yep.
Classic Mission, I don't think has enough speed across it.
No, and especially if you're trying to hold out the Beach Fantasy, you're building up a bit of speed by that point too. So something does want to ping.
Final Collect, no. Even though it's got reasonable. Jilliby Jack Sparrow, yes.
Well, it can fly out, absolutely.
The key here is I believe Jilliby Jack Sparrow will probably get across.
Yep.
And probably hold over 1,720 metres. But we've spoken about this before. But it's the respect for Techies watching. Does Techies watching get off and have a crack? And then if that doesn't work, does Techies watching get caught in the breed? There's a bit going on here.
A bit going on here. That was a nice.
I'm upsetting you because I reckon you've got really clear ideas.
Well, I had Techies watching leading, and I've got the utmost respect for the gate speed of Jilliby Jack Sparrow, but I still thought that Techies watching would have enough intent and enough early gate speed to be able to hold the front.
Any sort of horse in its gate, that's the only thing. I don't. It doesn't. Be interesting.
Yeah.
I think what might help you here is if the Beach Fantasy has a crack. We've seen these races before, haven't we? Where one horse or 2 horses run cover for the very quick beginner.
Yeah.
So,
and well, exactly.
I don't think Techies watching will have its head in front 15 metres after the mobile's left.
Yeah.
But if Jilliby Jack Sparrow is caught wide trying to hunt across the Beach Fantasy, maybe even Classic Mission comes out, then Techies can build momentum, which is, I think, what Techies watching can do. Then it holds the top.
And if Techies watching holds the top, is Ultimate Vinny punching through strongly and holding the leaders back?
Yeah, I'd say so. On weights and balances, yes.
So I had Techies watching top pick. I think the value in the race is Ultimate Vinny. And I'd say that even under a scenario where they burn a bit early and let's say the 6 does get across and Techies ends up behind the leader and they've taken a little bit of edge off an Ultimate Vinny's 3 back to pegs. I don't mind this horse to add a bit of value to exotics, Jace.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
You
don't seem to agree with me from your body language.
Well, Ultimate Vinny, I'm just checking my early betting thoughts in the race, but I like to, as you know, avoid Herve.
Yes.
Herve bet. Can you tell me what price they've got about Jilliby Jack?
Yes. Hang on, I'll just call up the fields. My computer's not playing with me. I reckon it was about $6.
That'd be good enough.
Let me just call it up. You are getting, I take it all back, $3.80.
Yeah, right.
You're getting $3.80 for Jilliby Jack Sparrow. Ultimate Vinny's $12, $3.20 for Techies Watching, which I think's pretty fat. It's a big price.
What price about Techies?
$3.20.
Well, that won't happen.
And that was before the scratching of Perfect Stride.
Techies Watching would be a lot shorter than $3.20.
I would have thought so.
But Jilliby Jack, if I could get $4.50, I might have a go at. For this reason, if it does get across, I can't see where the pressure comes from. Whoever leads here is going to get a pretty easy run, aren't they? So if you're right with Techies, you're not going to get pressure, are you?
Well,
who's going to do it?
I don't think so. What about Treachery?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to know. There's another one in the next race. So it's hard to know where they're at. When you're racing against ladies at Red and stuff, you know, and in really good races, and it didn't suit in the free-for-all last week, maybe. But I just feel like Treachery's not in the ZONE at the minute.
Yeah. I like Techies Watching to win. I think Ultimate Vinny could be some value, but I respect what you're saying about Jilliby Jack Sparrow as well. I think if that worked out, it'd be very hard to beat. So
I'll just say this before we go to race 3. I did look at Ultimate Vinny's for a profile. It's trail record. And it's not as good as you would think.
No, probably not. But you don't get any points for finishing 4th in an Italian Cup from behind the leader. And that's not bad form for a race like this.
And last question, the other little profile, it was a bit of a silly one. There's a couple of those. Sahara Breeze, including debut, 2 starts, 2 wins. Just going around for a run from that gate.
Well, you'd think so, I guess.
Geez,
it's had a few trials. But yeah, I think it has to just drift back but gee, what a record. 8 out of 18 and 5 seconds. So pretty rare that this horse has just gone round for a run. So it'll be interesting. A couple of horses I'm looking forward to seeing. The Trotter a bit later as well. So some exciting horses going around, but from bad draws, Jace.
Am I going to upset you again on race 3?
Oh, you haven't upset me yet. I just, as we know, and this is the important thing about what we do. We do this podcast. The podcast is recorded Thursday night. We put it out on Friday. We don't do the game plans until Saturday morning for a reason. And some people might say, geez, hang on, you've changed your mind from the podcast. Well, guess what? That's a clever thing to do. That's a smart thing to do. You've just got to keep getting more and more intel. And then on race day, we go bang, and you've got to check out pacesetters.au, and it's all there. Or, we're transparent.
Or you can just watch the podcast and not worry about the game plan and see that I like a wildfire.
Yes, well, it works in a few different ways. Race 3 is the Raymond John McNabb Memorial Pace, Jace, and it's over 1720, and there's no scratchings.
I seem to love to do this, don't you reckon? Whether there's either a lot of 1720 metre races or very few.
Yeah, I did notice a fair few on this card, actually. Yeah,
I would have loved it back in the day where I used to have to do the interviews on the track. You didn't have to go across.
My black book is going around here in number 1, Ghost of Time.
Yes, but you've got a love affair with Roadmaster.
I do. Who do you think I'm tipping?
Roadmaster.
No.
Yeah. Right. Does it lead?
Roadmaster, I think it does. Yeah. Yep. I think Ghost of Time's got the gate speed to kick up and be wherever they like, but I think Connor Clark will be happy to sit behind Roadmaster.
I don't know. I'm a bit 50-50 on this one, but I will say this.
Let's have a look at your stat, Jace.
The stat's up.
Ghost of Time.
Ghost of Time. So I've had to do a little bit of work here because its early record from the poll wasn't very good, but last 7 starts it hasn't missed a place. Is that?
Look at that. 7 starts, 1 win and 6 placings.
Yeah, from the poll, and clearly going very, very well. First up,
honestly, going much better than this horse has ever gone. That was a terrific win first up, and then last start nothing went right. Hence the black book. It is flying.
Scratched in between.
Yes, it was from the back row. Why waste the on the back row there? I just think Roadmaster, I don't know, maybe has it for class on what we've seen and potential, maybe. But there's another horse in the race that I think has them for class too, and that's Soho Historian, which is my tip.
I'm not a big rap for. I think there's a place for 1,200 metre races, but putting them to one side, the reason that I like 1,720 metre races more than 2,240 metre races or short course more than middle trip is because your intent changes. The driver's intent changes.
Yeah.
Where they would normally hand up, they often don't. Because they say, I'll tell you what, middle trip, I'm not sure I could go with you if you put it to me. Here, I'm going to throw the kitchen sink. But the other point I was going to quickly make, and it's something that I talk about a lot, and I know you're very intrigued by and often work with. Ghost of Time is a much better beginner. He's a very fast beginner. He's quite a fast beginner. But he's much better drawn out wide.
Yes. Yep.
So that might be the key. But I'm not convinced. Roadmaster, I feel like Roadmaster's a horse who has been able to find the front without being lit up. And if you lit it up, it's very fast. Do you get the same impression?
I do, 100%. Yeah. I wasn't sure of the gate speed, but I think it's shown enough in those last couple. I mean, I'm just watching the replay now. One of them, that first up run, he doesn't touch it at all. It just runs to the front on its own steam. Now, that second up, which was the final, remember Mick Stanley had a couple. Away they go. He shakes it up a little. The Mick Stanley horse finds the lead first, then he goes to the top. Yep.
You just don't I don't know what's in the locker.
Yeah, who knows?
Some horses you just look at and go, I reckon it's. So
I think it's a ping horse, but then you've got to beat a cross Ghost of Time. But what a great call that maybe Ghost of Time is better from out wide. And this is why we dig deep like we do, Jace.
So can I have Herv bet on Soho Historia?
Yeah, you're getting $2.50 on Herv bet and $2.80 for Roadmaster. I like Soho Historia. I just think that run behind Ladies in Red was
3 poles.
Was extraordinary.
You got 3 poles?
Well, it's only 2 runners on the back row.
Got to follow through, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think the way the horse is going, there are quite a few horses in this race that it'll just want to be getting around and they stay out of its way. I don't know.
First of all,
I guess you have to follow through, I suppose.
First of all, that's the other thing about 1720 is if you draw 8 over a middle trip.
Yep.
So I broke my hand then. But if you're 1720, you normally have to follow through. I'm with you on Soho Historia.
Yep.
But 250
won't do it for you.
Yeah.
Had no luck at all last time out. What do you reckon? What odds will we get?
No, probably
250.
Maybe 280. What's it'll depend on word around the town about the map, I reckon. What's Ghost of Time paying?
It's $8 on Herv bet. I tell you what, I could come into that each way on a 1x5 basis if it was around.
Well, even with the stat that I've given, $8 should be about $1.70, $1.80 a place.
Yeah.
I'd just take the place.
Horse is flying. Great place record, as you've said.
The leader.
Yeah.
It's not going to miss a drum, is it?
No. Love it. Race 4, the high gain Metro Maiden. We see a couple of Metro Maidens on the card here, Jace. There's a scratching in number 7 here, Rock and Dance. And
your mate, I understand.
Well, I've got 2 mates in the race, don't I? Shadow Celt's going around here too.
Drawn bookends.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool little race, I reckon, Jace.
It is.
Watch you talk me out of my original thinking here.
Well, maybe I should let you go first.
All right.
It's a cool little. You go first.
All right. Well, my original thinking was there are 3 clear standouts, and giving my love affair for a Shadow Celt, maybe I'll play a saver trifecta with it to sneak in there. But I think between My Uncle Stan, Mickey to Success, and All to Rage, I think one of those three will be winning. I think you look at All to Rage, he's had 5 placings from 10 at the track at Melton. I think he's extremely well graded in a Metro Maiden. He's been racing up against the fast class horses. He ran second in an Oyen Cup in March, this horse, All to Rage. He's a very, very smart racehorse on his day, and he's bumping into a whole bunch of different horses here that range between a rating 57 and ratings throughout the 60s. Obviously, My Uncle Stan is making his way through the grades. Mickey to Success has a very good record. But I think on All to Rage at his best, he's the value if you were to just say a simple box trifecta numbers 1, 8, and 9.
Feels like even though it's not trained by Albie, feels like I'm going down the same. I don't think give it any hope whatsoever. None. Prices for Stanley and
My Uncle Stan 380.
And what's Mickey to Success?
220. Who leads?
Stanley.
Yep, I agree. Mickey to Success is on its back. Where's All to Rage settle? 3 pegs?
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I don't know if Mickey to Success stays there.
Okay.
So here's my read.
Righto.
These are nice horses.
Yep.
Nice enough, aren't they? Cutie pies, sweethearts, sweetikums, darlings. But Mickey to Success, this is over 2,240. I wouldn't be surprised if they just take luck out of the equation. If anything like $2.20 is available, I will grab my tongs in one hand and a hammer in the other, and I'll go hammer and tong.
This does seem to always happen in the races where Albie's on one that I don't mind, doesn't it? Always.
It won one. Prusy no teeth. I'd said that it would drift out to be
true.
Big double figures, and it did.
Yep.
Media Success, I just think is, you look at the scale. Sometimes, I think you would do this as well, whether it's thoroughbreds, greyhounds, whatever, or harness racing, you look and say, where will these horses be in 6 or 12 months? Well, I'll tell you what, one's going to be in a different stratosphere to the others. Mickey to Success
absolutely. Yep.
will be winning the race with any fortune whatsoever, I would imagine.
Yep.
And I'm not even, I think Stanley will lead, but I wouldn't say Amore Rock flies out. I just think Mickey to Success, they won't take the Pity the Sandman in the sandpit. I don't think he will take the risk. He might, but I just think he'll go, we're way better. I'm just going to get off, roll around, dominate you.
All right. Well, I love it because we're going to see probably 2 very different approaches on that race to the game plan, or maybe somewhat similar. I'll have Mickey certainly in there. And if you were playing money races, I dare say you'll be having My Uncle Stan right there as well. But I'm taking a bit of a punt and we'll be boxing them up and giving All to Rage a blowout chance. Away we go with the quaddie in the Alabar Metro Mares Maiden Pace. That's race 5, Jay. Scratching of the horse that won tonight on recording night, Surfs Up Tiger Pie. The emergency won't be getting a start even if there's another scratching.
Yeah. I'm going to let you go first here because I'm intrigued by this race. I think, look, I've got a very, very solid idea about the quaddie and the pod quad and all the rest of it, but...
Righto. Let's see if we can align on one.
Take it away.
We haven't aligned yet, I don't think. So this might be our chance. I've seen this race as a tiered race. There's a top tier, a very clear top tier, and then there's a second tier, and then I reckon there's a bit of a gap. And in my top
3 in the top tier?
Well, no, I've only got 2.
Okay. Our Sadie K?
I wonder if I miss yours. I've got our Sadie K, and I've got Jolita.
Yeah.
In the top tier.
You're probably right, but is there only one horse in the second tier?
No, I've then got Stylish Gem and Lottie Moon, and I could make a case for You Better Not.
Well, I would have You Better Not clearly above the other 2. I would have 2 tiers, maybe 2 tiers as well, and same first tier, but a very clear second tier, You Better Not. Because I reckon it'll either lead and hold it or lead and trail.
Scotty Ewan's team is absolutely flying, and he's a great fella. As I said, he's a patron of the show. He's probably never heard of the show. Kyle Marshall, if you can tell him that we constantly give him a rap, That'd be great. Then maybe we'll win Scotty Ewan
the natives
over. I thought I'm not betting in the race, Jace, but I'm not betting in it. It's funny. I looked at Joel Leader and I was looking at those wins and I thought, geez, this is a horse who it was always being let down about the 4,500, right? Absolutely bolting away with a great turn of pace. And then that last 100, Jason's just getting everything out of it, making sure it still wins as the brigade of them are just the wave is coming. And then we saw it then have to use that sprint earlier last time out. And sure enough, it was gassed a long way out.
I believe, make the case that I felt that Jolita was consigned to having to do that last start.
Yes. And
unless there's something we don't know about, and this is an important point, isn't it? Sometimes you see a significant drop in performance and you assign it to reasons of your own accord, but there's actually something that's gone wrong. But on evidence, you would think that they tried something and they won't be trying it again.
No, it just didn't finish it off.
On evidence.
Yep, on evidence. It is well placed in this race, though, isn't it? It's very well placed with its record and its rating in a race like this. I do note that Annalise Scott's picked up the drive, which is great for Annalise. She does a terrific job. But that's a bit of a driving change from Joel Leader.
She told me her favourite horse back in the day. Started with anyway, yeah, Annalise. Nice girl. Does she work at Melton? She's doing some work at Melton, I think.
Okay.
Sometimes. So, yes, Joel Leader is very well placed, but given that racing style and given 1,720 metres, you are, and don't get me wrong, as you say, when she's let down, she's real fast.
Yeah.
But mathematically it can become very difficult, can't it? And with those tiers, you're looking at it going, well, the best case scenario for Jolita is if you better not leads and decides to hold out or can even hold out our Sadie K. If our Sadie K was to find the front, then I think mathematically Jolita's in
yeah,
Pythagoras and all the rest of it, pie. You know what I'm from?
Yep. All right.
Poop pie.
I like our Sadie K. Love the win over my Uncle Stan. I think it's gone
on to... Would you have?
Well, you get $4.20. $4.20 is on HurrofBet.
No. That won't happen.
No. It'll be much shorter, yeah?
Much shorter.
Much shorter. Because, you're getting $6.50, you better not, I think. I thought maybe you'd get a little longer. $2.80 for Joel Leader.
Pod quad? All three?
So, yeah, for the pod quad, I wanted to have...
Do you want to throw... What do you mean in stylish, Jim?
I swear I wrote all my pod quad horses down. What do you want to go with?
Well, I've got the three. You need to make a case for me for stylish Gem or
So you've got 5. You better not.
What do you mean?
7 our Sadie K.
Bet? Surely not.
11 Joel Leader. Nah, let's leave it. Let's go 5, 7, 11.
Love it.
I'm pretty confident that our Sadie K is the horse to beat.
This is almost the hardest race of the night, the APG Metro Maiden Trot.
And I kind of love it, though. I kind of love it. HurrofBet has Jazz Spirit 450, and I'd just be jumping on that all night long. If it's 450, I'd be absolutely loading up and having a good go at Jazz Spirit. Yep.
Really? Okay. And
then you've got Lady Vici, who's a real star that I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what Lady Vici can do. Last 2 starts has missed away and still won. Super
Vassallo can find one, can't he?
Oh, yeah. My oath. And I tell you what, they trialled beautifully behind She's Ruby Roo and another horse in Susan is her name. Susan, yeah. That's terrific trial. What did you make of this race?
No, I wasn't as confident as you. And here's part of the reason. And they're the same stable. Jolita and, well, they're not almost the same. Kiying Zena, what did it do last up?
It was very, very below average, yeah.
But did it lead and want to hold the lead at all costs?
And was gone a long way out, yes.
Yes, on empirical evidence, and spoken about Dan Malecki and how he's influenced me, that turning trotters around is not that easy. But I felt the fact they wanted to lead. I mean, look, the gate speed off the front row here. Let me have a squeeze at it. It is insane, isn't it? Like Kiang Zena flies out, Jasper flies out. I think Clyde Valley Piero was a black booker of mine.
Yep. Artie's
couple of
Peak
weeks
gets
ago.
a run now, so should be going forward from 2.
Yeah. And we don't know much about it, although it was SP profile, first start in Australia performance.
I think it's jumped off stride according to Luke Humphries in the call. The same place twice at the trials and at the races.
Thanks,
so maybe it's just that corner.
Yeah, shadows. What did Travis Cloak say? Smoke in the shadows in the mirrors or something. So I don't know what the map is. You've got Jasper in front, obviously.
Well,
flies out.
Yeah, it does. And I just, map aside, I just think it's so well graded. I love the form. 2 close seconds to Vera, and also the run. Oh, who did it actually knock over? Lisa Pitt's nice trotter. Amigos
Paris
as well. Yeah, beat Amigos recently, Jace. So I just think the form around Jasper, I think beat home Berries and Cherries. It's drawn inside of Berries and Cherries. I give it a hope as always. I think the main danger is Lady Vici drawn out the back. Xena, I'd want to see bounce back pretty strongly. Artie's Peak with a massive question mark. Jasper's the horse that just has the right form, in my opinion, to be winning a Metropolitan Maiden Trot.
Sorry to ask you this again.
Yeah.
What price on Herv for Jazz?
Jazz at $4.50 on Herv.
You'll get it, I reckon.
See, I'm amazed. I would have thought it'd be a $3.280 shot.
That's going to be the biggest part of your game plan if you're getting 450. Is that right? 50 win?
Yeah. Well, I'd go each way I'd love going each way if I can. More the place even for some of these horses, but because I think it'll be running a place for sure and certain. But
what's Vichy paying?
$2.50.
And what's what is Piero?
$16.
Kai Valley Piero each way for me.
Love it.
Really nice horse, and the last run was excellent. But
let's talk pod quad 2 because you've got to put in Andy's.
Do we?
I do.
Okay.
4 Kiang Xena.
This will be a wide one. 5.
5 goes in. 6. 7. I'm happy to leave 8 out.
11 then the other one?
Do you want to go Lady Vici alone, number 12?
12, sorry.
Yep.
So that's
done.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6 in that leg.
Yes, 2.
I'm okay with that.
2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 12.
I'll be staggering them in my game plan quarters. I'll be leaving Artie's Peak out. Right.
The next race is race 7, the Elder Baron Park Trot. Scratching, very important. Number 1, what's up, party time?
It's out.
Yep.
Makes life easier.
Talk to me. I found one here that was going to be great odds in my head, and it just probably won't be.
Well, I've done all the form, and what's up, party time I was still going to go with it. 1 out.
Well, it's done you a favour here, Jace. It's scratched.
I've got to recalibrate now.
Okay, well, while you do that, I'm going to make a case for the listeners about Ebony's Avenger. Okay, caused the upset this track and trip recently, draws back in here, barrier 2, and you're only had to look at that last run to say, my goodness, she's so close to yet another win. She scorched home last start. So now is drawn the pole, has enough gate speed to hold up and take a very forward spot. Tweedledee might go to the lead or might not. I don't know. But regardless, I want to be on Ebony's Avenger. I just don't think I'm going to get much of a price now.
No, you'll go okay. I'll tell you one thing about Ebony's Avenger. Again, I don't believe she begins as well from the pole.
Yep.
And I believe both the horses, the standard breds, the square gators next to her, will both believe there are a chance of pressuring her and getting her off stride. Tweedledee has got good gate speed. Mercenary flies out.
Yep, with the puppet.
Now, what I'm hoping, I don't really want to bet in the race now. I changed all my quaddies that I've decided to do early. But I'm hoping that the 3 of them all go to the Vietnam War.
Okay.
Or Korea with Mash and Hawkeye and Trapper.
And you'll be loading up on Lady Adelia.
And one other one. This might surprise you.
Parisian Artiste.
Well,
that would surprise me because you've been saying last week it'll blow out the market.
Well, absolutely. But what was Parisian Artiste against last week?
100%, yeah, exactly.
Now, Parisian Artiste is class, and Lady Adelia is flying, but can't make, well, drawn very well, she can make her own luck, but drawn wide, she can't. So I'm just hoping that Ebony, Tweedle, and Merc all go to war.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, if it's pure gate speed at play here, Mercenary will lead and be very hard to beat as well. So
yeah, good call.
Podquad is shade up. Like Podquad's hard. What are we doing? 2?
Well, I'm almost saying chuck in the field. Based on everything you've just said.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
There is nothing there that would surprise. So let's just go field.
Yep.
And I'll be having a good go each way on Ebony's Avenger. Even at the 2-place dividends, I think it won't be missing a top 2 spot.
If I was driving, who's driving Ebony's Avenger?
Jordan Leadham.
Pardon my shoes on now. He's at Geordie.
Yep.
If you're watching and listening, I wouldn't come out half pregnant. Not 4.5 months, but I would come out not desperate to hold the other 2 out.
Yeah.
If you can hold Tweedledee and get crossed by Mercenary, I think that gives her a better chance of winning than throwing the whole lot of the kitchen.
I think she's going to have a lot left from about the 300-400 on when others might not. Race 8, the Bareldo Coffee 2 Metropolitan win pace. And this is
a day again. Did you say now? You're down to
4 today. I've cut back about half what I used to be. The Bareldo Coffee pace. This is a very intriguing race, Jace. I like one at odds in Dollar Geary, which I know you've mocked earlier. So that's all good.
Now you're trying to get a bloody soundbite here.
Come on.
I did not. I think mocking's going too far. I'm just not with it. But
yep.
I'll tell you what's really interesting, isn't it? Dawn. I didn't put this in the profile.
Let's have a look. You've got the stats.
I have got a profile.
Record leading, 8 starts, 5 wins and 2 placings, 62.5% win record. Record not leading for Gone, 7 starts, only 1 win and 3 placings.
But here's another critical key that I didn't include. 4 starts around the middle trip.
Yep.
1 placing.
Can I tell you my stat? Which is exactly this, but I'll dig a bit deeper. 2,000 metres plus, 4 starts, no wins, 1 second. Sprint trips, 11 starts, 6 wins and 4 seconds. You were talking about a completely different horse.
I'm pretty sure I just said.
Well, I've just dug a little bit further down, even deeper, to actually say 10 out of 11.
Yeah.
10 out of 11 top 2 finishes one way, 0 and 1 minor out of 4 the other.
Here's my question, though. Has anything got a chance of crossing it or would want to?
Springfield Affair, you mentioned last week, does have good gate speed. If they're wondering about going at the distance, do they have a crack anyway just because they feel compelled to from 3? Does Sweet Passion come off quickly? I don't know.
The only one, in my opinion...
First dance?
The only one, in my opinion, who could cross it for speed...
Yep.
Would be Sweet Passion, and I don't think there's virtually no chance it'll come out from wide.
What about at 22.40? Does Amy Tubbs just try and declare war anyway from 2 early on?
I think Amy, it's entirely up to you, clearly. But if I was Amy Tubbs,
yep.
We've both actually put ourselves in a position tonight to be Amy Tubbs, by the way. If I was Amy Tubbs, my goal would be to do enough early to give myself half a chance of dropping in behind the leader.
Yep.
Which is unlikely. But that would be, I wouldn't be trying to cross Gorn. Gorn, particularly over 2,240 metres, but Gorn isn't usually lit up early. It normally balances, then explodes.
Yeah.
But the way it explodes, you know that it's got the speed to hold all of these. Now, my question to you is, with no pressure in the race, and I can't see any, right? Does 2,240 metres start to look a lot more like 1,720 metres at that point?
I mean, you'd think so. But the record's just... I'd have to go back now and watch those runs over the longer trip and see if it was copying pressure or because there's a chance that it didn't and it just didn't finish off like the market expected.
I'll tell you where they were. I've got it here now. On debut.
Yep.
Ran second. Then heat of the Vic Bred Super Series. Silver, where it was queried. Then fourth in the Allied Express, led on this occasion. Mole rate over the middle strip, 154.7, got beaten 4.9 metres. Spyglass won the race, but it's still not,
And Dolagiri was 7 metres back from the extreme barrier draw off the track.
I'll tell you what did catch my eye that I thought about doing this race is the run. Maybe it was Diamond Eclipse goes around so often, but 6 starts back.
Yep.
The Beach Fantasy leads over 1,720 metres in 153.9. Diamond Eclipse is behind the leader and all but nabs it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking here, money race, maybe Diamond Eclipse, the drum, but you're with Dolagiri.
Yep, I'll go Dolagiri. This will be an interesting one to see exactly how we play it on the game plan, Jace. Pod quad. 1, 2,
1, 2, 4, 8.
4, and 8. Let's do it. Job done.
What's the Diamond Eclipse on her quickly?
$16. So there's one for Jace. Race 9, the Neverly stud to finish us off the 3-year-old pace. And my notes here, as I looked through, I just said, "Yep, there's just too much going on, and I'm not betting."
Well,
it's they're good horses, but and with the scratching of Tilly Jane, but you've got some resuming.
I spoke in the review about the last race and how difficult it's been. The map's not even clear, is it?
It's all about it. It's all about intent.
It's all obscured. I've got my only stat here, I think, is I've got 2.
Some American 2 for 2
from the lead.
Front. Yep.
And in Kingman, bit of a silly one, including debut, 2 for 2 fresh. Bay of Biscay doesn't seem to fly the gate. Well, a lot of these horses haven't been used much, have they? Kingman begins well, but doesn't fly the gate. If you had to rate them out of 10, the Stewart runners here, some American out of 10, in comparison, so actually rank them in order of ability. Some American, Kingman, and Bay of Biscay.
Some American, Kingman, Bay. I would say.
Bob Hawk's here. Oh, I tell you.
Let's see if we're aligned or not. I'll go Kingman 1, Some American 2, Bay of Biscay 3, but honestly, you could chop that round.
I would say Biscay, Kingman, American.
Yeah.
But under these circumstances, I wonder whether at the right price, one more time. What's Some American on Herv?
Some American 280 for Kate Gath. Bay of Biscay, $3 for Mark Pitt. Kingman, $3.50 for Kez.
Some American. If I'm forced at knife point, at high point.
Yep.
Frequent very often when I lived in West Australia. Some American for me, but I'll be surprised at myself.
Yeah.
Particularly given I've quit punting after the Sun and the Moon, if I haven't bet in the race.
I did once say there's not much between Smoke and Ace, I think, and Some American. So I still think he is in the mix there somewhere too.
Well, if I'm right and he's to lead, you agree with me? He'd be on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
17-20 would be hard to beat him.
Exactly. Kingman is a horse that really intrigues me. I'm interested to see exactly how it goes first up. I remember the last campaign when it won. It's one of Michael Harvey's.
He's got a bit of editing about him, hasn't he?
He does. Is that one of Mick Harvey's horses in the yellow?
Yes, or the lime.
The lime colours. Yep. It's an interesting program. I'll be watching this one, J-Bon. I'm not doing anything this Saturday, and I'll just be relaxing and watching the trots and commenting on Twitter, doing a few tweets. But our game plans, I think, are going to be very different this week to each other, which is a good thing. We're going to have a few different differences of opinions. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
Best bet is Mickey to success, I reckon.
Yeah. Yep.
If I'm giving you my best value of the night just quickly,
yep,
I would say it might be Una Memento Por Favor. I'll go. Geez, Ghost of Time's got to be close if we're sitting like $8. But I'll say, Ghost of Time. If it was, I don't think it'd be $8, but if it was,
Yeah, well, I'm not going to be letting my Black Booker go around at that price and not have something on myself. But I like our Sadie K. I think Jazz Spur, as I've mentioned, and you're telling me I might get a price, which I'm very excited about, Jace.
You'll
and I
get
think
at least $4.50, I believe.
And I think at value odds, Ebony's Avenger potentially. Just let's see what the market does. And Dollar Geary, they're the horses where I'll play that classic sort of 1x5 type play.
All right, it's time to say au revoir.
Thanks,
have
mate.
you got any special skills that you want to show tonight?
No, look, no special skills this week. Maybe we'll throw it out to the listeners. Anyone's got any suggestions for special skills to finish off the shows, Jace? We could entertain such.
I'll give you one, and if it doesn't work out, we'll just cut it from the podcast.
Yeah, well, I suppose we could do that.
You ready?
Yep.
ZYXWVU2 VUTSRQPONMLKJIHDG Diffie. No. I'll try it again. No. We'll just cut that out. I was going to do. Remember the Simpsons episode?
We're not cutting it out.
ZYXWVU2 SRQPONMLJKIHGFEDCBA.
Well, that'll do because I wouldn't know. But let's now. You shouldn't have said that, Jace, because we should have said to the listeners, if you put your record, play it in reverse, what will you hear?
A satanic tune back in the day. Remember that?
I do. Are you watching on Saturday night? Will you be tweeting along with me, or are you busy?
No. I'm pretty keen, and it's funny. I didn't get a lot keener as a result of this chat, but because I had to argue my points,
yeah,
I'm a little bit keener. So I'll be having a bet, and we'll be texting each other and tweeting and doing all the rest.
Well, make sure you all join us then. I'd love to see Twitter make some good old-fashioned noise like it used to back in the day. Get pumping. Throw your opinions out there. Throw your tips at us. Who's right? Who's wrong? Let us know.
Last one. I know we're doing a lot of work on the Melton Guide, and we've left it to one side for one more week, but maybe next week we'll have a little chat about Queensland.
Yeah, love it. Let's do that. And let's just plant the seed right now to say, too, there's something a little special in the wings for the fans out there at some point very soon that we're working on in the Pace Setters AU factory. So watch this space. It's going to be big.
God bless, mate.
Take care, all. Good luck on the punt.